Forza Horizon 6, and this may be, honestly, like, ignoring the progression, that looks pretty good, ignoring the crazy Forza editions, also very cool, this may be the greatest news for the longevity of the game ever. So, festival playlist. We've seen it in a previous video, we know it's available. That scary ass menu item staring me in the face. Now, I was hopeful. I was, you know, logically expecting it to be in the next game, but I was hoping there would be some huge changes. And maybe, just maybe, I've got what I want. I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be difficult for me to not just shout about the festival playlist the whole time, but I need to kind of touch upon it and explain what is potentially changing here. So, there's a couple of things that led me to this, and ultimately, these were mostly all found by the community, but also pieced together in a video by Eric Ship. So thank you so much to his video. Did a little bit digging for the community posts and such, and honestly, it paints an incredible picture of what we can expect with Forza Horizon 6 long term. And the fact that they haven't really announced anything about this is so bizarre to me, and hopefully, maybe they do. Maybe they're just waiting till last minute. I mean, maybe they're waiting for the launch of the game before they talk about what's coming up. That would probably make a little bit of sense. Once again, you know that I didn't get access to the footage, so I'm gonna steal some people's. I'm gonna steal Dex, for example. I'm just gonna place myself. There you go. This is now my footage. I'm just stealing it, completely stealing it. So shout out to Deck and go check out his channel. I'm gonna basically link every Forza channel in the description by the end of these. So one of the big things was Fall Rivers posted this question, I'm guessing on the Steam forums about Forza Horizon 6. And it's basically asking whether the playlist is still in the game or not. And he just wants to know something. Basically, is it still gonna be here? And gave a little bit of suggestions and how things are progression-wise. You know, just gave his full opinion. We love to see it. That's what we want to see. More opinions. Opinions on stuff that people care about. Very important to shape it for the future, especially in an evolving game. Anyway, one of the developers, he's got the developer tag there, he says, Festival Playlist returns in Forza Horizon 6, providing players with a wealth of free reward cars and new content every month. New features in Forza Horizon 6, such as temporary car meets, will be supported, and new exclusive reward cars that can be earned by completing Festival Playlist activities across several series, no matter when you play. Now, this, honestly, it kind of screams like, yeah, we've made some changes. And I don't know why this is merely a little blog post in in what is potentially some of the biggest news, one of the biggest complaints about Forza Horizon previously, and it's really aggressive FOMO. Now, this, of course, may upset some of those people that were, for example, grinding out the playlist every week, enjoyed the process of grinding it out every week, not that you can't do that, but the exclusivity of those cars is seemingly gonna fade away. It's basically what this comment says. Now, let me just, once again, reward cards can be earned by completing festival playlist activities across several series. Again, roughly, like, you could say there's gonna be multiple series, so, you know, he's just talking about that. But he says no matter when you play. That is the most significant thing that they could have potentially said. Like, it's like they put something, they reread it, and they were like, doesn't really get the point across, no matter when you play. That's pretty solid to me. You see, in Forza Horizon 5, 4, those games, I found myself basically never bothering with them, especially as we got towards the end. There's a series 50, and, well, of course, we can go back to when the actual cars were being released. We're talking about, even at the very beginning, I didn't do a huge amount of it, and I particularly only focused on cars that I was really interested in. And the issue is, if you don't do it that week, you're missing out. Like, sometimes, for example, I would like to leave the house. And that meant if you didn't get on it and super quickly, you would have to go to the auction house. And the problem with the auction house is it's full of bellends. Even to this day, when you can now basically buy any vehicle, if you wanted a Turbo S, for example, you would basically have to spam this menu back and forth until you manage to finally get access to it. And this is still fully available now. You can just go and buy it now. They've changed it. And they still don't list them nearly enough. However, that was less of the issue. It's more the fact that there's probably some bots involved of listing and selling these cars to make mass amounts of money and basically abuse the systems in place in a way that really ruins the fun for the majority. Basically, couldn't get the car, had to wait till the end of the game, or for it to repeat the series, and ultimately, if I was away for a week, went on holiday, went outside when it's nice and sunny. You can't see it's sunny, it's just overexposed. Well, tough luck. That was it. So, okay, let's bring it back. If it was that one piece of information that I was going off of, where it was that one thread, it is kind of, does it mean anything, does it not? You probably would have been fairly so, like, that doesn't really confirm absolute. They could be doing something a little different, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're completely changing it though. You could still, you could have just misworded it. Okay, so another thing that they did was release the achievements list. And the achievements list has some pretty fun ones. And my favorite one is this one. Historic effort. This is 30 gamer score, if you care about that. Earn a series history reward. Now, you tell me, history, the past. This sounds pretty exciting. Though, again, doesn't necessarily mean 100% that this is going to be a dedicated, like, you can jump back. But to me, that's kind of what it sounds like. When I show you that menu of me looking back at the series, I can click on it, but it doesn't actually let me replay the series. They could have very, very simply created a system in where I can go onto here and I can partake in the events that were in this previous season. And then I get the previous rewards that were in this season at any time. You see, this also requires you to look here. Not at the Turtle Beach logo, but there's a link in the description. No, this one right here. The Game Pass logo. By the way, they just made it cheaper. Isn't that cool? Again, just to hammer home, because some people don't understand why I keep mentioning, the idea is more playtime, more Game Pass spend, more money. In fact, they get more money from you paying through Game Pass, and therefore more allocated budget for future Forza titles. The more you play, the more they can grab hold of you, the better for them. So in the logic previously, it was, let's get them to return every week. And now the logic is, let's get them to play forever and ever. And we don't want to let them go. Why would we remove events exactly if we want them to stay? Kind of makes sense. Bringing you to the Forza Horizon competitor. A very aggressive competitor to the point that it's a festival racer and it's car game at, you already know. Okay, what I want to show you in this is a system that they introduced that is something that could have been what inspired them to do this. Not only could they have, looked at the numbers and thought, this is how we could get people to play for longer, they probably also went, yeah, that's a good idea from our main competitor in a capitalist system. You kind of need competition. It's good. It's useful. It encourages fighting in a good way for us, for our... Anyway, they introduced the main stage legacy, where, for example, if I didn't get the chance to unlock those wheels the first time, or that car the first time, or the second time, or whatever time, I can come in, do some races based on that playlist season, and then get the reward that I so desperately want. And that's not the only thing they did. They also did a system where you can go into older events and you can choose what style of vehicle you want to partake in. You can basically create more events that way, but also create a new way for you to get these tokens at the bottom of the screen. A kind of end game of the end game. So they just multiplied the events that basically are in the game by a minimum of 1 or 10, how many car versions they've got in the bloody game, letting you go to the store and basically purchase vehicles that have been and gone. Again, a way for you to constantly keep playing the game for cars that you care about, that you may have missed, or you just didn't have the game a year ago because you're new to the series. Like, for example, think about how it came out on PlayStation, like, years and years and years after the end of its life cycle, and they gave people at the beginning no way to get most of the cars that had ever been out. Like, that is so crazy. So it is worth a mention that none of this has been officially confirmed to be the case. Bit of an update. Good news from Succulent D Trash. By the way, I noticed SUV hater. Very good, very nice. They pointed me towards this, which was an IGN little bit of deep dive. Extra information came from the Discord server for Forza, and this is what they had to say. The festival playlist will be available as soon as you earn your way into the festival, about an hour basically from the start. And it's been confirmed that cars from elapsed festival playlist will be made available after the fact. Precisely how this will happen hasn't been overly described, although it does appear that it would be a contrast from Forza Horizon 5 systems, where basically once they were gone, and it took years for them to rotate again. They here explain what the festival playlist system is. We already know what it is, and however, it was mentioned that the festival playlist cars might be cycled into the aftermarket car system. Locations for Forza Horizon 6's aftermarket car are fixed, but not all of them will necessarily be active at the same time, and it's possible for the studio to add more. I mean, the most one in 2012, you just place in the car on the map. The cars that are dropped into the system will be sprinkled on the map, blah, 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 and they will be different for other players. It was reiterated that the unique Forza Edition cars will be very rare. That's also new to me, didn't know. But anyway, quick bit of information. Thank you so much to Succulent D Trash for sending me that, because honestly, I probably wouldn't have bothered with IGN stuff. So technically it's not IGN stuff, so that's why it's good. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that every event style will be accessible. This is a pretty important point. They could do it something similar like the crew. So we could have the token system come from the crew. Or we could end up with, well, their own token system that they've already had. Or that could be at the end of the game, and they could actually go for a completely different system where you can replay some of the events, like the crew, where you can select particular events according to their schedule. Now, in the crew, they don't remove the legacy events once they introduce into the game. Doesn't necessarily mean they won't remove the legacy ones from Forza, but nonetheless, it gives you multiple chances to get vehicles. And I didn't even think about this previously. Like, when the PlayStation version is released, finally, we don't know exactly when, the months of cars, are they just not going to be available for the PlayStation players as they arrive late? That's totally crazy and unfair. So this is definitely something that needs to happen, especially now we're going onto both systems. And I'm really glad, because I was so worried that when they introduced in Forza Horizon 5 the ability to do the backstage, and they just added everything all of a sudden at the end of the game's support, I was not expecting that. And the fact that they did that, I was kind of like, oh, I hope they do something similar with Forza Horizon 6 earlier on. Because again, if you were jumping around, I guess you could also buy it on PC or Xbox day one and then move over to PlayStation, but that's totally unfair. When their main thing with Forza Horizon is like, look how many cars we have, and then you say, but because you didn't buy it on Xbox day one, we're not giving you access to all those cars, most of those cars, the cars that you want, unless they made them really crap cars from the beginning, but that would be rather disappointing. Point is, this gives me a little bit of hope that not only the changes in the progression hopefully are going to shift the game to be really exciting. If I miss a week, or if I'm not interested in the car until maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks, a year, 3 years later, and I go, oh, actually, that would have been a really nice car to have, I can go back and play it. You see that that's beneficial for the playtime and beneficial for me. So in both cases, we both win. The only losers would be the people that were abusing the system and selling cars for like 20 million or so. Now, I don't think that's going away. I think that's still going to be the case. You'll still be able to rake crazy amounts of money, because the reality is wheel spins and such still likely gonna be in the game. There's still gonna be players that play a lot more than others, and people are gonna always look for a way to pay to get access to things a little bit quicker. And in Forza, you're able to do 20 million very quickly, but also they've got those microtransactions that have been in the game. They're just kind of a little bit hidden, you know. So I still think that's still going to be a thing. And I still think there's going to be a lot of rare cars in the game from this time, like the Forza editions, that still are going to be bought in mass. So it doesn't remove that ability from people to make mass money, but I think it dampens it. And let's be real, a lot of it is cheating and botting, because people could cheat cars by changing dates and such and doing some hackery bits to then put them in the game en masse and make loads and loads of money and then sell accounts. That was the biggest thing that most people were doing it for. It's not out of the goodness of their heart because you missed it and they grinded it, and so therefore they're giving it away. No, they replayed it, sold you cars, made lots of money, and then made some real money from that money. And Microsoft definitely doesn't like that. But it's always so crazy to me that people would do this even though the game has been incredibly easy and not a grind at all for the past while. So either way, they would do it. And so maybe now is a good time to add a little bit of progression on top. It all just aligns. It all just makes sense. Am I an analyst at this point? I don't know. No, because I didn't find this information out. Thank you once again to our good guys, Deck Games, once again, for the gameplay that I'm stealing. I stole this. No, I'm not saying Deck, by the way. I stole this one. I just straight up took it. And of course, Eric Ship, because he basically did the work here to find out this information. So again, highly suggest checking out both of those channels. Some great Forza content on both of their channels. And you're in the right place for the best Forza. I'm sorry, no, I can't say that because that would then mean that their content isn't the best. Some really also great Forza content. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and hopefully, I can get my hands on a review code at the very least because I've been fair. I've been positive. Fair.